Well then, welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson, player ratings for Manchester United at Bodø Glimt after the comeback victory that we saw last night. Take the lead inside a minute, balls it up, go a goal behind, and then get our noses back in front and win the game with complete control, as it was in the end. Right, let's have a look then at some of the stats and some of how it went down in the game. Andre Onana, he gets a 7.5 actually. I think, again, he was crucial in helping United maintain their lead. He made 4 saves, including a real big critical late one. There was the header, there was the free kick. There was some moments, again, where Onana's had to be busy. It was quite a dominating performance with the ball for United, but we still really needed Onana to step up. So 7.5, I think, is a fair one. Interestingly, only 4 accurate, so only 4 long balls, 3 of which were accurate in the game last night. 94% pass accuracy, being a bit different with it. Couple of nervy moments outside the box, which has dropped him down from being an 8. But it's one of those, isn't it? The fact that he got booked for time wasting just sort of illustrates just what was going on. But overall, he played a significant part in the victory, and he's having a fantastic season, I think, so far. Mazraoui, he gets an 8.5. It's almost come to be expected from Mazraoui now, because he's a joke. He was outstanding again. Balances defensive duties with in-possession contributions. He gets an assist for Højlund's goal. Perfectly weighted pass, demonstrates the creativity, the composure, the quality that he possesses in the final third. Heavily involved. 139 touches of the ball, 95% pass accuracy, 114 passes completed, won 6 out of 7 of his ground duels, made 9 defensive actions, consistently thwarted Bodo's attempt to attack down his side. The only reason he's not getting a 9 is because I personally think he pressed out of position for the first goal, personally. But that'll come with practice and understanding of his role within that team, if that's where he ends up staying once everybody gets back and fit, because I think with Luke Shaw being an option at centre-half and Euro clearly being one of the people that will play at centre-half, I still think we don't know where Mazraoui is going to play, and I think that's a bit of an issue. But yeah, it was an 8.5 performance from him. Lisandro Martinez, 7.5 for him. I mean, he had a 100% pass accuracy, 79 out of 79. He was also playing balls direct through to the strikers, bypassing midfield entirely. I'm liking that. That's a great way to speed up the play, is by going like that. It's not a long ball. It's still on the floor. He's making that happen. Him pressing out of position for the second goal was a bit of a mad one, I thought, at the time and at the game state that we found ourselves in. But the composure, his defensive recovery, it helped stabilise us in the second half. I wouldn't say it was one of his most dominating, best performances, but he did show leadership in key moments, especially when we reshaped the defensive back line in the second half. So it was a solid game. 7.5, I think, is fair for him, but not quite at his best. De Ligt, 6.5. It was solid, but certainly not one of his best games. I thought he struggled a little bit with the quick transitions in the first half. He did grow into the game. He made 2 out of 5 accurate long balls to try and relieve the pressure at times. He did get 2 clearances, 2 interceptions, but he only won 2 out of 5 of his duels, which is why he gets marked down a little bit, where the others were a little bit more effective in their duels. There's room for improvement for him there, particularly in the aerial challenges. I thought with the ball, he was excellent. Again, 95% pass accuracy, 95 passes actually out of 100, so 95%. He helped us build out from the back under pressure. He was heavily involved in that bounce pass, usually out to Mazraoui. It seems to be his favourite way of doing it. But it shows how much time and possession our centre-halves are getting on the ball now, which allows us to step up into the middle of the pitch. And because the midfield are holding a little bit of a slightly higher position, they're now able to start dominating and imposing themselves on the game. I thought De Ligt was the worst of the 3, but certainly not bad. It was just ordinary from him. I've seen him play better. I know he can play better, and I know he can be more dominating in his duels. So we'd like to see that. Malacia, 5.5. I thought his performance was poor. He was off the pace, which he might literally just be after 550 days out. He tried to put loads of crosses in, 8, only 1 was accurate. He was supporting Garnacho down that side. He got involved with link play a little bit, but he just looked off the pace. Subbed off at half-time. Some question marks about the defensive reliability. I think it's unfair to be too harsh on him. I think there has to be context to the fact it's his first game in 500 and whatever days. He has to be allowed to come back slowly. So let's allow him to come back slowly, and let's see what happens with him. But that wasn't a good showing. You can't say it was when it wasn't. Ugarte. He gets an 8 out of 10. It was a very effective presence in midfield, breaking up play, shielding the defence, and being bloody good with the ball. 9 defensive actions, including 4 tackles, 92% pass completion. He maintained control in possession. He was composed. His pressing was fantastic. He won 5 out of 7 of his duels. He was very, very, very effective. Not flashy, but real disciplined, composed performance, allowing everybody else around him to get on with doing their job. So very good performance. I think he's cemented himself as United's first choice in that midfield. It's now about who plays alongside him. And his partner last night was Bruno Fernandes. So again, a subdued game by his standards, but there was some positive things in there. So I'm giving him a 6.5. A little bit like De Ligt. It's a 6.5. You can't say it was a fantastic game because it wasn't a fantastic game. It was all right. 88% pass completion, which was good because normally you don't get that out of Bruno. 7 out of 9 accurate long balls, but he did struggle to impose himself in the final third. Just the 1 key pass. Defensively, he was dribbled past once, and he did fail to close down effectively. In my opinion, him not covering the man that I think he should have covered, I think is why Martin has stepped out to go and press that man, and that's why he's getting marked down a little bit as well. He was industrious, but he did lack a little bit of the sort of quality. Again, adapting to a new position, so totally mindful of that. We did discuss him possibly playing in that position earlier in the week, so it was a nice surprise to see that the manager was doing stuff. And actually, I think on the manager, it was nice to see him just trying a lot of different things. I mean, seeing Casemiro at centre-half alongside Luke Shaw at centre-half, seeing players in different positions like Antony tried at the wing-back. We saw Marcus tried on the right-hand side in the number 10 role. There was a lot of position mixing going on at the same time as trying to win the game. So big ups to the manager for the balls to try that in the circumstances he was trying that in. And I'm glad to see that we're doing that, because I think what we'll do is he'll quickly discover who he can and he can't trust, and who he can play in certain areas and who he can't play in certain areas. And I think we'll be better for it. Anyway, Mason Mount. So I think it was flashes with Mason Mount. And again, a little bit like Malacia, you're expecting him to be a little bit rusty with so much time off. But there was some glimpses of both technical and creativity. Obviously, they got a nice little flick over for the Højlund second. He was involved with the passing, 77% of his passes, a little bit lower than everybody else. But as you move forward, it gets a little bit riskier, and that's what you want to see. His pressing and his energy were valuable, but he did only win 2 out of 7 of his duels. His performance was a step forward in establishing where he might play in Amorim's system, and I think he can play in one of those 10 roles. Amorim clearly likes him, and he offered a lot, I thought, last night, but it wasn't sensational. I think it's a 7. It's a 7. It's a 7. I think it's a 7. Antony gets a 6. He struggled to make any sort of meaningful impact, really, before he got the hook. He was heavily involved, 69 touches. He got 90% pass accuracy, but the final product was just non-existent. Attempted 6 dribbles, completed 4, which is better than I thought it was when I was watching it. 1 accurate cross, which is not enough. Didn't register a single shot on target. Defensively, wasn't really there as well, just the one tackle. He has to offer a hell of a lot more. He looked like he was a step off everybody else in the team, to be honest. It just looked like he really didn't know what he was supposed to be doing and didn't necessarily have the ability to carry out what he was trying to do at the same time either. Garnacho, 6.5. His early goal set the tone. Yes, it was a tap-in from all the work that Højlund had done, but it did set the tone, capitalising on the pressing and the keeper error within 50 seconds. But he fluffed his lines with 2 real big chances in the second half, which could have eased the pressure. And, if that free kick goes in late on, which it nearly did, it's only heroics again from Onana stopping that great free kick. His selfishness really shows why you're not getting results in those areas. And like I said at the top of the show, when it comes to decision making, Mazraoui I just love watching him because his decision making is just so good. Garnacho, in contrast, decision making is really, really bad. He didn't really create for anybody else. He had no accurate crosses for anybody else. He did have a couple of key passes, but it's his decisions to shoot at the times when there's better options. And if he just shot once and then tried to play somebody in and then shot and then tried to play somebody in, but it's not the case. It comes to him and he's just shooting and he's just shooting and he's just shooting. And you can see the frustration in his teammates. There was at one point, the one that he slung over the bar, you can see Bruno turn around shaking his head and you just think, someone's going to have a word at some point and someone needs to have a word. He's raw, but his decision making is bad and it has to improve. He really, really has to improve. He's got to learn how to be a team player first and foremost, and then he might have a shot. But right now, I don't think he should be starting. I think Ahmad and Bruno in those 10 positions, or Ahmad and Mount, or maybe even Kobe Mainu. I think as we shake out towards Christmas, I'd be very surprised if Garnacho's still starting games. Rasmus Højlund, it's a 9 out of 10, and he was my man of the match. It was a match-winning performance. He scores twice. Does he get the assist? I think he probably does get the assist for the opener for Garnacho. Should be his goal, really. The movement and the awareness were really good. The sort of stuff that's really been lacking from him. Created space for himself, created space for his teammates, completed 80% of his passes, won 4 out of 7 duels, which is more than he's been winning of late. He involved in 2 big chances created. His goals, a phenomenal volley and a nice composed finish. Mount's especially I like because it was a system goal. The first one was a little bit of luck and a little bit of magic. The second being more of a system goal. I like that because systems are repeatable. Magic's not repeatable. Not even for David Copperfield. So I think he could really kick on with a system that's designed to put the ball into the right areas. I've questioned his instincts for movement. He's shown the correct instinct for movement. He just got to repeat that now. Show some sort of consistency with it. In terms of the subs, Delo, 5.5. Came on and was bad. He was bad. He has shown some switches of play, but there was not much in it. Diallo, 6. There was some flashes. End product wasn't there. Marcus, 6. Didn't really manage to influence the game. Got himself in a good position. Dragged it. Luke Shaw, I'd say 6.5. Really assured in possession. Helped us see the result out. Casemiro, hovering between a 6, 6.5. Let's go 6. Played all right out of position, I think. But yeah, all of those too late, really, to sort of talk about in depth. Overall, we showed a little bit of firepower. When we went 2-1 down, I think for the rest of this season, you're like, well, that's that then. Maybe we'll get one back, but we're not going to win this game from now on. And we did. We saw tactical tweaks at half-time, which show balls from the gaffer. I like that. He's not afraid to fix it. He's not afraid to mix it up, and I think that's required at times. So I say 7.5 for the manager in that sense. You can see some small steps towards what he wants from us as a team, which is a positive. And yeah, overall, really enjoyed the game. It was an enjoyable game rather than the bore fests that we've been subjected to for the most of this season. Anyway, give us your thoughts on those player ratings, and I'll catch you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.